guys, welcome back to West Texas Bushcraft. The all-around kit was okay. It was good for all-around purposes, but it's big and it was heavy. I didn't like it. So I took it apart and I robbed some parts out of it. And then I thought about some of the other things I got in my pack, and I got too many single-purpose items because I like multi-purpose. I like budget. So let's take it all, combine it into one. This isn't necessarily a survival kit. What I've been thinking about is a good first aid kit. That's one of the single-purpose items I took out of my pack was my first aid kit. It had band-aids, it had Q-tips, it had this and that and the other in it. And to me, they're good for just one thing. Yeah, sure, the packaging on a band-aid, you can start a fire with it. You got some tinder with that. Same thing with the Q-tips, but what else you going to do with it? Not much. So I took some of the concepts of the all-around kit and the concepts of the first aid kit and combined it all into one good multi-purpose first aid kit. So if you've been frequenting the West Texas Bushcraft website, you would have seen a post on the Los Bastardo backpack that I made. That was pretty cool. This was on the side. That was my cook kit. I decided to take the multi-purpose first aid kit and put it in the cook kit. So let's take this thing apart and break it down, and let's just see what our multi-purpose first aid kit looks like. Okay, cracking the kit open. Crack open. Pull. There we go. Here it is. Not too bad, not real heavy. Pretty good deal. Toss it right in a little small pack and I'm good to go. So let's undress this thing. In here is my Snow Peak titanium cook set. Yeah, I know I'm budget minded. This was expensive, but it was worth the money. It's light. The bottom is a nice little cup for teas and mixing some of this stuff. The lid. I don't know why they didn't make the lid fit on the cup. I guess if you put it upside down on there, that'll work. But anyway, here's the kit. Of course, the bandana. Naturally, that's going to be part of my multi-purpose first aid kit. You know the multitude of uses for a bandana? This, since it's all nice and patriotic, yes, I love my country. I have guidelines to cut strips for bandages. Can make a tourniquet out of it. Can sop up blood, clean up wounds. You know, bandanas. Nothing else needs to be said about that. Second of all, in here, the big fat Swiss Army knife. This one has two things specific in here that I was looking for first aid. Number one, magnifying glass. Number two, in this one, this model had a straight pin in here. I pulled the straight pin out and changed it to a sewing needle. Then I had put made a loop with fishing line so that way I could actually get it in and out. Of course, you know the purposes for a magnifying glass, looking for splinters, inspecting things, starting fire, whatever, and of course the needle will help me dig out any kind of splinters I have, and also with a sewing needle I can stitch up a wound. Nice to have. Of course, razor sharp knife in there if I have to lance a wound, anything like that. Pliers, scissors, the whole plethora of everything that comes in a Swiss Army knife of this size. And of course, tweezers. And what makes this good is a survival tool as well as this one has an ink pen so I can write a note if I need to. Moving on, all my kits that I put together, of course, have ways of making fire. Rob these out of the all around kit. Gotta have fire. That's one of my big redundant deals. But thinking in a first aid state of mind, this will be good to get fire going to sear wounds that may need searing. There you go. Enough said. Now, out of the all-around kit, I stole the iodine bottles out of here. Good multi-purpose first aid. First purpose for first aid anyway would be, of course, an antiseptic to clean out your wound. Second use for it here would be, yes, cleaning water. Also other uses for that. Highly recommend you Google some iodine. Good stuff. Now, I did change out the containers for my spice kit. We will start with red. Red is the cayenne pepper. Of course, you saw the cayenne pepper in the other one. I didn't really tell you anything about the spices, so I will tell you this time. Cayenne pepper is coagulative, if that's a word, or is anti-hemorrhagic. I don't know. Those are big words, and I'm a Texan, so we don't use big words. What that means, aside from its antiseptic properties, you can take that, rub it in a wound, and it'll make the wound quit bleeding. It'll help the blood coagulate and clot up. So that's one of the uses for cayenne pepper, aside from seasoning your food. Another good thing that you can do with this is this will help a sore throat. Believe it or not, with the heat in cayenne pepper, you can make a gargle out of this. You can mix a little bit in some water, hence the cup. You mix a little bit of that in the water, gargle some of that, that will help a sore throat go away as well. So cayenne pepper, that is the most important thing I have in here as far as my spice kit's concerned for my multi-purpose first aid kit. Most important. I highly recommend everybody get that. Second of all, bunch of salt. Of course, you know your grandparents told you, or your parents, depending on your age, always tell you, oh, you got a sore throat, you got sores in your mouth, gargle with salt water. There you go. Mix some of that up. Salt makes great seasoning for food. Also helps sores in your mouth, helps sore throat, toothaches, swelling. You can also mix up a little bit in just a tiny touch of water, make a paste out of it, and you can rub it on stings and bites, and it will help take away the itch and help take away the sting and let that heal a little bit faster. So salt is a very, very good multi-purpose item, and it's also great for first aid. In here also is garlic. If you don't know the health benefits of garlic by now, considering they put it in pills and it's been huge health crazes over the years, definitely go Google garlic. You want that in here. What I like about garlic is, of course, its antioxidant properties. This is not necessarily first aid, but it is good for your overall health. It's heart healthy because of its cholesterol changing properties. But one of the things I like about this too is you can also make yet a paste out of this stuff and rub it on you. You'll stink to high heaven, but this will also repel mosquitoes. And you know the nasty crap mosquitoes carry. So garlic might not be a bad thing to have in there. Last in this specific kit is cinnamon. Cinnamon also is good for your cholesterol, but the reason I put it in here is because one of the things that it is used for in holistic medicine is for treating menstrual cramps. So I put it in my kit. Although I'm not a woman, I don't have menstrual cramps, but sometimes the heat gets to me and I get cramps or I have overexerted muscles. So this would be some sort of muscle relaxer. So I figured this might help with some of that if I mix up a little bit in some paste or put it in some tea or coffee or my food or something like that. This will help relax your muscles a little bit. So cinnamon might not be a bad thing to add to your kit. These are the 4 spices that I have in here. I need to get another one of these. I want to put some ginger in here. I don't have it in here, but I will be adding that. So to let you know the good things about ginger, the thing I like about it the most is I get headaches like crazy. You can take dried ginger, make a paste out of it, rub it on your temples, and that will help alleviate a headache. It actually works much better, I think, than ibuprofen or acetaminophen or whatever. So there you have that. Now, a couple of tea bags in here. Caffeine is also a good anti-inflammatory. If you have a big sting with a lot of swelling, you can just simply get the tea bag wet and apply that to the sting, and it will help that. Also, when I had a tooth pulled, the dentist told me to take a tea bag and pack it down over the gum area where the tooth was. That will help stop bleeding, and it will also help the swelling as well. So, and he was right. So I keep tea in all my kits. I keep it in my food kit and everything, so that's a good thing to have in here as well. A little spool of bank line, can break that down for sutures, can tie on my bandages that I've made, make a tourniquet out of it itself. A whole lot of uses, of course, for cordage, so we don't need to go into that. I have a whole video on cordage. And the very last thing in here, get ready for the giggles. A tampon. Yes, I said it, a tampon. Now, why on earth would I stick a tampon in here? I have something for menstrual cramps, and I also have a tampon, but yet I'm a man. Okay, here's a tampon. What's it good for? Let's see here. I have a giant puncture wound in my arm. I might bleed to death. Stick that tampon in there and apply it. Plug up the hole. Plain and simple. That's what that's for. Big wounds. Do not want big wounds in the bush. It will kill you. So, laugh it up, but I recommend keep some tampons in your kit. If you never use it for that, at least you can tear one of these apart and break it down and you have tinder. So there is the Multipurpose First Aid Kit. Nice, much better. The all-around kit was big and heavy, so I got rid of that, all that weight, and I also got rid of the single-purpose first aid kits all down into one small package. I can toss this in any pack, and I'm good to go now. Throw that in there with my hammock and my tarp, and that's pretty much all I'm going to need for a good outing there, so that's nice. If you haven't been by WestTexasBushcraft.com in a while, go by, have a look. You need to go through there and sign up as a member of West Texas Bushcraft, because you also need to go take a look at the West Texas Bushcraft Super Awesome Giveaway. Having that big giveaway September 1st. Go get signed up, get your chance for it, because it is cool stuff. Until next time, you guys go out there, get dirty, have fun, and be safe.